Well, good evening and welcome to the first episode of The Conservative Perspective. This is going to be where you hear the conservative side of the news. You're going to come here to hear the truth and the right perspective, the perspective that many Americans want to hear. So before I start, I'm just going to introduce our co-host tonight. This is North Star State Politics. He is a great YouTuber and a very good friend of mine. So I'll let him introduce himself. North Star?
Just your based Iron Range Catholic. Nothing much else really.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, I am your host, Old Line State Politics, your favorite Marylander and from the South. So we're going to jump right into tonight's discussion. So for everyone who's watching, we have the live chat open. So any questions y'all want or have, I should say, we're going to try to answer most of them. But first of all, we're going to start talking about something that happened last week. It is Silicon Valley Bank. It had closed, it collapsed last week. I'm pretty sure it was last Monday. But basically what happened was with this bank closing, we had a kind of like a chain reaction start happening with the economy and the stock market, with the way that inflation is and just the current state of America and the economic system. When this bank chain closed down, Silicon Valley Bank, when they closed down, it created this type of, I wouldn't say a chain reaction, but it created this this thing where we saw that the stock market started dipping very, very low. And Dow Jones, that is a major stock in the stock market, they lost around 500 points in around 2 days after this happened. So we saw 2008 recession type of things happening. And so a lot of people are saying that this was just a minor mess up in the economy. It's not a big deal, and Americans shouldn't worry about it. But to be honest, honestly, I think we probably should be worried about it. I mean, a major bank went out of business, closed down, and then we saw the economy and the stock market start, getting really bad, worse than it already is. So, yeah, it is something that we need to look at, and I think that many Americans are concerned about. And if you have any other takes, North Star, I'd like to hear them.
This is definitely, the Silicon Valley Bank collapse, I think, is something a lot of people overlook. Like, not normal people, like a lot of people were overlooking because, they were like, oh, well, it's a big bank, it was meant to fail. Like, you hear these awful takes about the economy, and not to mention, Biden is still going out here despite some of the largest bank collapses in history occurring twice within the same week, similar to 2008, and we're hearing, no, the economy's doing great, Jack. It's working for all Americans, when a bunch of Americans just lost a ton of their money because the bank collapsed. Now, granted, you are insured, I think, like 300,000 or something of whatever you had, but for people who had over that, which I don't know how many, it's just flat out ridiculous. I mean, the hypocrisy that we're hearing from the Biden admin about, oh, the economy's doing great, Jack. It's doing great. The bank collapses mean nothing. It's like, this is what we were told in 2008. We were told back in 2008 that the bank collapses meant nothing.
Absolutely.
We were told in 2008, by the Bush administration, the bank collapses don't mean anything. The economy's great. And again, I notice a lot of parallels from 2007. Like, 2007 was very similar to 2021 in a way. We saw rising consumer prices. We did actually see high inflation in the late 2000s, just before the recession. We saw some funky stuff happen, eerily similar to what was going on pre-2022. And then 2022 hits, and we're hearing, GDP decline, and everyone said, oh, that's normal. But then you dig deeper and you look at, like, why it decreased. Well, let's see here. Stocks were going down, and if stocks, like, have a long-term decrease, like, if they're forecasted to long-term go down, there is a problem. because stocks should not long term be going down unless there is something actually wrong. And I think they were right. Like the big sell off we saw at the start of 2022 that kept continuing into the election season was a sign of something to come. I mean, like usually, where do things go bad first? The stock market. That's usually where it starts. It starts in the stock market. It works its way down. Eventually, the banks then get hit, and then pretty soon, normal people get hit, and then the businesses get hit. Layoffs start to happen, and the next thing you know, it's 2008 all over again. I mean, we are seeing. I think we're in for something akin to the Great Depression. I mean, you look at all the money that's been pumped into the Federal Reserve. This is gonna blow up in their face. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
All the money that we pumped into it. I mean, like you look at the housing market. You know, the housing market is projected to crash. The automobile market is projected to crash too after that huge bubble that it went into. So realistically, we're in for, I think, something akin to the Great Depression. Like, I think this could even be worse than what went down during 2009, what went down during the 30s, even worse than the COVID recession, because the COVID recession we recovered from quickly. I think we could see a COVID-like recession that lasts longer. And keep in mind, this does pave the way for a Trump victory. I know people were saying a recession helps Biden or something, which is retarded. But I think, like, again, I'm not saying I want a recession because that hurts people, but it does improve Trump's electoral chances. But that's all I have to say. Like, people are ignoring this. They're trying to blow it off, and this is not a good idea because they did this last time, and then millions of Americans lost their retirement.
Exactly.
So,
and you bring up retirement, and I wanted to get into that. Many retired people, and I would say around, I'm just throwing this number out, I'm going to say around 70% of retired people have their money in the stock market and when in their income in the stock market. So they invest in these stocks as a source of income after they're not working anymore. Yes, that they've worked for many years in their younger life to create a retirement plan to have money for when they retire. But when the economy is this bad, when inflation is so high and taxes are astronomical, when we see that happening in our country, there are many people that I know of who have had to either go back to work or who have had to start getting on government programs because they physically cannot work. So this is causing an issue not for just working class, middle class, younger Americans. It's creating a problem for all Americans, young, old, and everyone in between. It's going to get really bad. And like you said, it's basically 2008 all over again. It's basically the start, like you said, of 2008, when we saw that the housing market, it first started with the housing market starting to crash. And we saw some of that in early 2021 to late 2021 when the Afghanistan withdrawal and many other things going on in 2021. That was the start of the housing market getting very bad. And many Americans couldn't sell their house because people couldn't afford to buy them. And the houses that were for sale were so high because they were trying to make all this money because the worth of the dollar was so low, or is so low, I should say. So these create chain reactions from the economy being in the tank to taxes being high and inflation being high, creates the whole economic system and standpoint just start to collapse. And this is what we're seeing, the aftermath of poor leadership in the White House, poor leadership in Washington, in the Congress, and poor leadership across the states with governors and the General Assembly. So everything creates a chain reaction, and this is what we're seeing the aftermath of.
Definitely. I mean, as we said, as we both have said now, the an economic recession can be signaled in the stock market, the housing market, and the automobile market. Those three, if they all signal a bubble, you can usually tell within the next 3 years that they are going to collapse and there will be an economic recession. And again, as I said, there are precursors to the Great Recession and the Great Depression. Nobody's talking about how the Great Depression we saw at the start of 1929, stocks sold off. big time. Then they had a huge bull market rally in the summer. And then at the end of summer, they started to decrease. And then in September, all of a sudden, a bunch of bank runs occurred. And then Wall Street crashed. And then the Great Depression happened. I mean, what we're seeing is it pretty much like we're seeing some crap occur. Like, we're in for a long haul. I mean, Americans are losing their savings. Like, keep in mind, their savings are already being screwed by, the stock market going down. The 401ks are losing value. IRAs are even losing value. Like gold IRAs were thought to be invincible, and now you look at the value of gold, it's collapsing. Same with the value of silver. Like, I keep in touch with the price of commodities because I'm a nerd, but I also keep keep in mind, I'm going to be in the market for a first car pretty soon here. And it's practically unaffordable right now. Like, you look at the price of like pickup trucks, they're like the cheapest trucks I can find that aren't like total crap boxes are like $15,000, which is expensive for a first car. And then the actual cars that are for sale, like, I mean, we're seeing cars more expensive than houses now. We're seeing homes in California that would be like, for example, a home that's $1 million in California would be like $500,000 in Minnesota. I mean, we're seeing a bunch of warning signs that was ignored by the Fed. I think had the Fed increased interest rates back in 2021 to curb inflation to stop this mess, I think we would have seen a much different result. I don't think this would happen. This is partially the Fed's fault. This is the Biden monetary policy's fault. Like, if, because we didn't raise interest rates early enough to curb inflation, we let this out of control. This is completely our fault, and honestly, like, the government deserves to feel the heat from it, because you made your bed, now lay in it. You did this.
Right.
They did this to themselves.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And when after the 2022 midterms, we thought, at least I thought, with the new Republican-controlled House of Representatives, we would start to see a difference in the spending and the budget, and not necessarily that it's going to change anything, like as a whole, but it would just give some relief, because I thought we would have some more leadership. But as of right now, I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in what we've done so far in the House of Representatives, with Kevin McCarthy as our speaker. I know he has done some good things. I will give him that credit for that. They cut the funding for the 87,000 IRS agents, which I 100% agree with. But other than that, I don't really know much that they've actually done to help everyday Americans. And to be honest, it's kind of disappointing for me and for many Americans and conservatives that we had our trust in these elected officials. And honestly, I'm not seeing any progress.
I'm not either. I mean, the truth is a Republican House really wasn't going to change much anyways. I mean, there's really so much they can do with the Senate killing everything they try to send. Mind you, did the Democrat House really change that much? Change anything of Trump's economy when he was in office? I mean, did gas go up when the Democrats took the House? No. I mean, realistically, you need control of both branches of government. You need control of both houses of Congress in order to make a difference. Right now, we're skimming by with a majority in the House right now. I think should Trump get indicted, and I think if we do get a financial crisis, we will see a Republican sweep in 2024, assuming we play our cards right. I mean, if we ballot, I think the conditions right now are aiming up to be a red tsunami of a presidential year. I mean, honestly, people are saying, Trump can't win. Republicans are screwed. And while I think the Republican Party is extremely incompetent and will definitely find a way to screw this up, or at least make it not as big as it could have been. I mean, when was the last time you saw Democrats bungle a wave year? Back when maybe in the 80s. But even then, that was kind of hard to stop because Ronald Reagan was so popular. Now, 2008, Democrats capitalized off Bush. They hammered Bush. They hammered Republicans. They hammered McCain. And guess what? Republicans got smoked. In 2006, Democrats absolutely hammered Republicans. They hammered Bush about his Katrina response. They hammered Bush about, his handling of the housing crisis, which was not the housing crisis, the rising costs of houses at the time.
Right, because that was the start of the financial
Right.
crisis. In
Right,
2006.
and nobody knew it. Like, the financial crisis didn't start until 2008, but those were the precursor warning signs. And
Yep.
guess what? The Republicans got smoked again. Now, Republicans in 2010, I think 2010 is a perfect example of what happens if Republicans can actually, like, message properly. What was the Republican message in 2010? We're gonna, if you elect us, we're gonna cut spending in your government. We're gonna let you live your life. We're going to reduce the deficit, and we're going to solve our debt problem, and we're going to be fiscally responsible. Whether they actually did that or not is another story, but all of them kind of ran on that consistent platform of cutting spending, getting rid of excess programs, cutting wasteful spending. Guess what? It worked. Republicans smoked Democrats in 2010. I mean, Democrats suffered the most amount of House seats losses for a party, I think, like, ever.
Right.
So, in 2010. And I think if 2022 very well could have been 2010 on steroids had Republicans gotten their messaging together, because you notice state by state messaging was different. J.D. Vance in Ohio ran a very good campaign, and guess what? He was rewarded with basically a Trump margin victory.
Yes.
In Iowa, Kim Reynolds was rewarded with a massive victory when she got her messaging right. Same with Florida. Those three all had similar messages. They were going to be tough on crime. They were going to back Trump. They were going to be trade protections. Well, not DeSantis, but they did the core Trumpian principles, and they were rewarded with victories. But then you look at states like, Minnesota, where at the governor level, where Republicans had a shot to pick off the governor race. Like, Walz was extremely unpopular. Walz was down in the polling. Walz was getting outspent for quite a while by the Minnesota GOP, and not even with a fundraising advantage could the MN GOP pick off the governor race. I mean, that goes to, and not to mention the messaging was horrible. I mean, we need to get our messaging straight, and I think if we get a message platform of America first, standing up to foreign enemies and putting America first, we will swamp 2024. And especially with a recession, I think we could be talking about states like New Mexico being competitive, maybe even Virginia, which I don't think they'll flip because I think they're too far gone. But as a whole, Republicans need to capitalize on this if this does happen. People are going to say, oh, you shouldn't capitalize off of crisis, and it's like Democrats do it all the time. We need to start doing the same. I mean, part of the reason we don't win is because we're too afraid to use power when it matters.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you.
We're too scared to use power. I mean, you look at it, they're like, oh no, the Democrats might call us racist. And I'm like, guess what, Jack? They've been doing that for 20 years.
You got a point. No, the problem is that the Republican Party wants to keep going in the direction of the old Reagan days or the old Nixon days, when voters actually respected and trusted the Republican Party for what it was. But coming into the late 90s, early 2000s, and even today, they've lost hope in the Republican Party and their messaging. The leadership within the Republican Party is the actual problem, not the people and the candidates. It's the leadership. You don't have a well-run country. You don't have a well-run party unless you have leadership. And the leadership is what is failing the Republican Party on the national stage. Now, if we get our leadership better, then yes, we can start winning again. If we get our campaign messaging out there properly, if we can actually fund candidates in competitive states instead of dumping millions of dollars into states that we had already and races we had already locked in, just because they had the Trump endorsement. And we're so polarized and biased against one person just because he likes these more, as we would say, conservative candidates. Doesn't matter. You can choose someone in the primary, but once they're nominated, it doesn't matter if I agree with them 100% of the time or if I agree with them 60% of the time. But guess what? If we want to win as a Republican Party, we got to take that 60% of the time. We got to take that 60% over nothing, because sometimes we just got to get these people who will vote with us, let's just say 90% of the time instead of 100% of the time, because in the end, in the grand scheme of life and the grand scheme of the picture, the full picture, I would take 60% over nothing.
Yeah, I mean, as you that's well put. I mean, like the Pennsylvania Senate race, for example, as much as I despise David McCormick and I want him smited off the face of the earth for being a communist POS in the GOP, if he is our nominee for Pennsylvania Senate in 2024, guess what? I will support him because guess what? Unfortunately, I hate to admit it, Dave McCormick is probably the best candidate in that entire field if he runs. McCormick, he can self-fund, which is definitely, like, Republicans struggle with funding, even in states like John Hoeven got outspent in North Dakota. I mean, if you're getting outspent in Republican plus 40 states, you have problems. Not to mention, the GOP leader, as you mentioned, leadership. The Democrats are horrible. Like, the Democrats, if they were in any other country that wasn't like Venezuela or like Mexico, they would get smoked. They would get destroyed. But the problem is the Democrat Party has something we don't. They have leadership. If you think about it, when it comes time to vote on an important bill, what do the Democrats do? They don't sit there and bicker and, whine and moan. No. They all band together and vote yes on it. Exactly. When it comes time to vote, like H.R. 1, they all stood up and voted yes. The only person to buck the trend was Joe Manchin, which that was probably him trying to save his approval rating, which was tanking at the time and still is. But like Democrats, whether it's like people like like these so-called moderates, these centrists, like Ron Kind, who claims to be a working class hero, but then you look at him, he voted with Biden like 95% of the time. Truth is Republicans have so much infighting that it hinders our ability to win. Like, you look at these, like the states, like Wisconsin, for example. If Tim Michels had as big of a war chest that Ron DeSantis had, Tim Michels would have won. And I think had Republicans pulled money from Florida governor, because we were going to win that regardless. Like, there was no way Ron DeSantis lost. The only way I could see Ron DeSantis losing is if Trump won re-election in 2020, and then, it would be a more like blue wave favorable year. But even then, I don't see him losing. Like, Ron DeSantis was going to win regardless. Marco Rubio was going to win regardless. We should have focused that money in. Now, keep in mind, I'm not trying to, like, again, I'm going to do what I do on the Rust Belt Boys and skirt around the TOS because we do that a lot. Try not. North Star State Politics try not to get host channel taken down challenge.
It's the game we play every time.
Yeah, but no, like, I mean, you look at this, like, I'm going to call them the problem states. You look at the problem states, they're all key, like, the big three that I talk about are part of the problem states that we need to win. And because we didn't fund our candidates in those states, like Tudor Dixon, the establishment refused to give her money because they didn't like her. And guess what? Now Michigan, I have high hopes. Like, I think Michigan can be red. Definitely. People are dooming too much about Michigan. Same with Pennsylvania, but people are over here saying things like, Michigan's gone. It's blue now. And it's like, listen, we could have had a Republican governor there. I think had we actually spent money in these states, we would have won. But it comes down to leadership. Our leaders were too focused on spending money in states like, in states like North Dakota. They were too busy spending money in states like Alaska to actually give a crap about what went on in the Midwest. And people can say funding doesn't matter. It sure as heck does, because the candidate that usually has more money wins. I mean, that's how it goes. Like, money matters in politics. You air more ads, you fund your campaign more, you get your name out there. How do you think Oz won the primary in 2022?
Because he had funding. He had funding.
Oz barely scooted by, but had he not spent as much as he did, McCormick would have come out of nowhere and won. Like, McCormick, people need to remember, McCormick on election night, McCormick won, or McCormick didn't win. Why am I saying won? McCormick came out of complete freaking nowhere on election night and won. I mean, almost won. I keep saying won. I'm having a stroke. It's that time of night, but like, people, again, I'm not saying Dixon was a good candidate, but had she had the war chest that Ron DeSantis did, or even someone like Greg Abbott did, I think the GOP would have probably had a better shot. She wasn't the greatest of candidates. Like, had she actually, like, tried to look optical, maybe she would have won. But I mean, this entire thing, people saying, oh, Trump chose horrible candidates. He was working with what he had. Those candidate fields were awful.
They were.
I mean, in retrospect, like the Pennsylvania Senate race, I mean, who are you gonna pick? Some schizo boomer con black grandmother who tweeted hashtag BLM to try to play the system? Like, really?
Yeah.
And then you have some boomer guy from Montgomery County, Jeff Bartos. And then you have a doctor guy, and then some billionaire investor who said China is good or something. I mean, who are you gonna pick? None of those people are good. Same with George Walker. I was never big on Herschel Walker. I never liked Herschel Walker. I knew he was gonna lose. I thought maybe I thought maybe Kemp would carry him over, but no. I mean, the truth is we had horrible candidates, and that wasn't Trump's fault. He was just picking the ones that sucked the least. Because had we had somebody like I think honestly, had Dave McCormick been the nominee in 2022, he would have lost by even more. That's my take. Like, that was the Senate race was just unwinnable. I mean, that wasn't gonna that was kind of unwinnable without Toomey. But
I would like to jump to some comments and kind of get off this rabbit trail we've been going down. Range. First off, I want to respond to Bay Studios, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry. I don't know exactly how you pronounce the first word, but the question is, do you think Wisconsin is winnable back with Trump? It depends. I think so. I think it can happen. I think it would be fairly close within. I think it would be fairly close within a point or less. But yes, I do see the state of Wisconsin going back to Trump, especially if we go into recession and see the economy just start collapsing.
Wisconsin is winnable. Like, people need to remember 2022 again. Ron Johnson, and I think it was a Biden +5 electorate in the state of Wisconsin, like Biden +3. Ron Johnson still held on, and he was probably the most right-wing candidate statewide, and he still held on. I mean, keep in mind, he barely held on against a black nationalist, which is definitely scary. But people need to remember, Wisconsin. If Ron Johnson was able to hold on in an environment where Democrats swept statewide offices in Wisconsin again when they weren't supposed to, that should tell you something, that the state is definitely trending red. I think Trump is really the only candidate who can win at this point in Wisconsin. Because Ron DeSantis, you can get the wows out, but the thing is rural drop-off in Wisconsin screws you over. You're not going to win the state unless you win the rurals. That's
what we saw with Michaels. And you're going to tell me, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to say this one thing. You're going to tell me that a farmer out in rural Wisconsin is going to know the heck about Ron DeSantis. They're going to know he's the governor of Florida who's done a good job. When you ask him who Donald Trump is, they're going to say he was the 45th president of the United States, who has a lot backing him, a lot on his reputation of what he's done. You know, they're not going to know who the governor of Florida is and what he's been doing down there. I mean, it's 4,000 miles away, if that. So yeah. There's no way that they're going to know who Ron DeSantis is in the state of Florida. Now they're going to know. They're most likely going to know. I mean, necessarily who he is, but not what he's done. And that's the problem, because people are going to be like, so you have Biden, Ron DeSantis, if that's who the Republicans put up, and then an independent. They're going to be like, well, I don't know who Ron DeSantis is, so I'm just going to vote for Biden because that's, or they're not going to vote at all. And that's the problem, because what we saw in 2022 was that the Republican Party just didn't come out and vote in the mass numbers that we should have, because we thought it was going to be this big red wave year. And the fact that the media played it out as this going to be this red wave, and it got Democrats energized and go out to vote, to make them go out to vote, it outnumbered the Republicans in the rurals.
And that was our problem. And people need to remember, people say, oh, and again, I feel like turnout kind of does tie into fundraising, because if you have more fundraising, you can get your name out there, and more people will know about you, and they'll do research on you more than likely and find out, oh, this guy's pretty good, I'm going to vote for him. It works in some scenarios. You really think, and again, as you brought up, Ron DeSantis, I think, is somebody who, sure, he's not going to lose in the rural areas. He's still going to win them, but he's going to get severely reduced margins. Northern Wisconsin, you think the average boomer living in somewhere like Hayward, Wisconsin, or Stevens Point, is gonna know what Ron DeSantis has done as governor. No, they're gonna be like, he did the one thing with Disney the one time. Like, that's all they're gonna know. Maybe some other stuff with like the transgender sports stuff, but other than that, they don't know who he is. These other candidates too, like Nikki Haley, you really think they know who Nikki Haley is? You really think a farmer in western Minnesota knows who Nikki Haley is?
No.
No. I mean, I know these people. Like, I know people who are in agriculture, and keep in mind, these people want Trump. Like, these people, I've talked about, they're enthused about Trump running again. And keep in mind, these are people who weren't so enthused about, these are people who reluctantly voted for Trump in 2020. They kind of said, Trump's a little rhetorically irresponsible, but he's the best choice. I mean, out of the two. I mean, keep in mind, with Ron DeSantis, they're not going to know who he is. They're definitely not going to vote for Joe Biden. So they're either not going to turn out, they're just going to sit at home and relax, or they're going to vote third party. And that's kind of what screwed us in some states. Like, third party candidates screwed us in the Arizona governor race, I believe. Like,
yes.
Part of that was Lake attacking McCain voters, which
yes, they're a big McCain state.
Well, yeah, like when you win by 52 statewide in your state multiple times, I think that's kind of a dead giveaway that you shouldn't attack that person. But
right, yeah,
as a whole, lock them up. I mean, people are going to say, oh, it causes Trump to drop off in the suburbs. I don't really think it does. Like, you really think the average person in the suburbs really cares? Like, oh, wow, Trump's getting indicted in front of a grand jury where they're gonna probably find him not guilty anyways and then drop all charges. Like, I mean, this is where we're at. Like, it's another one of those we got him this time moments and then nothing comes out of it. Like, this is just another we got Blumph now and then they don't have him. Like, right. It's just, they're getting desperate, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they stop short. Like, I think they might try assassination next.
Okay, hold on. Hold that topic. Let's move in to the next segment of tonight's conversation. So we're going to be talking about Donald Trump and him allegedly going to be locked up, going to jail tomorrow, Tuesday, March 21st. Trump reportedly said that he expects to be arrested Tuesday as the DA's office, district attorney in Manhattan, is getting ready for a trial. So right here, we have the news article from CNN, and I just want to get my co-host takes on this topic. So go ahead, North Star.
Okay, sorry, I had a bit of a coughing fit there, but we're back. Apparently drinking water causes you to cough. I thought it was supposed to be the opposite, but whatever.
It happens sometimes. You know,
I've heard. Yeah, wrong windpipe. Yeah. Okay, so this whole case, like, I've looked into it. Basically, for those of you, if you've been living under a rock the past week, you may or may not have heard that Trump is likely. Now, granted, they're saying that the indictment might be postponed. I've heard stories that Trump is likely, like, the indictment will be postponed. It probably won't happen Tuesday. I've heard things. I'm not sure it's going to happen. Personally, this does help Trump politically because they're going, like, again, Trump has said the system is targeting me politically. And again, most people I know, even Democrats, are saying this Stormy Daniels thing is BS. I mean, like, I know I know a few boomer Democrats who think it's stupid. They think it's a waste of time. Like, it's only helping his case. Like, he said the system is targeting me and then they're going to come after you. And guess what? This only proves his point because they're going to, like, what? I don't even understand the full thing of this case. Like, he allegedly paid her hush money to shut up about what? Nothing? Something he did 30 years before? Like, whatever. Is in the past. Like, I think the whole call to protest, I think that's kind of a Fed trap. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. We're going to have another J6 all over again. But realistically, if Trump does get indicted, whatever. I'm not worried. His team of lawyers is really smart. They have gotten him out of, like, every situation possible. Everybody thought they had him with the J6 thing, and then nothing came to that. Trump got, like, allegedly he was going to get charged with J6. Like, he got subpoenaed, and then immediately a day after got unsubpoenaed. I mean,
right.
Realistically, they don't have anything on him. Like, they are digging and digging and digging, and to find what? Nothing.
Right. No, there's nothing. There's nothing against him here. Once again, Every single time, it's them digging up lies against Donald Trump. They do this. What is it? Every year, every 2 years. I mean, we can go back to his 2019 impeachment from the House of Representatives. The first thing that the Democrat Party did once they took back is they started an impeachment. And they've been trying to get rid of him from day one since he launched his campaign in 2015 because he is the fork in the road. He is the one who is the barrier between their one world agenda and them destroying America and turning the world into a one world government. He is the only one standing in their way, and they have to get rid of him for their plans to happen. Before Donald Trump came into the mix in 2015, they had their whole plan set out. Everything was going to happen. And then once he got elected, then it threw them off course and they panicked. And they've been panicking for years, for around 6 years now. They've been panicking for 6 years and they think they got him. But every single time they think they got him, he's always one step ahead of him because he's smarter. He's smarter than everyone else.
True. I mean, Trump, like, people fail to remember, Trump has the appearance that he's stupid, but the thing is Trump had, like, that's his image. Like, his image is that he's a bold and brash man who's not afraid. Like, he says wildish things because that's him. People fail to remember, oh, Trump's mean. Yeah, that's who he is. Trump is a guy who puts it forward. Like, he's very straightforward about things. And realistically, you know, he'll probably get away. Like, he's likely gonna, like, nothing will come of this indictment. And keep in mind, the reason they're indicting him, I think, is because you look at Trump's approval. It has been rising in recent weeks. And people have been saying, oh, well, you see here, you know, Donald Trump is severely unpopular. Well, he had the highest approval rating of any American politician or political figure in the country not too long ago, actually. Like, average. If you average out the polls, he had the highest. And I think this indictment is kind of like one last hurrah because they know a Republican victory in 2024, a Trump victory in 2024 is increasing. They know that the chances of him winning are ever so, like, they're higher than they have probably been. They're the highest they've been since this time in 2022. And they know that if they, you know, this indictment, I think, is kind of their last attempt. And not to mention, I think part of it's they're trying to distract from the bank failures. I think this is a distraction from what went down during the, with the bank. I think part of this is they want to
take the spotlight off of them and put it on Donald Trump.
Yeah, no, they do. Because
exactly.
I mean, the Democrats know that they have basically just caused a huge recession that might actually occur worldwide, and now they're trying to cover it up and say, look at Trump, hush money payments. And realistically, even if he did do this, I would condemn it. Which if this does turn out to be true, which it probably isn't, but if it is, by some miracle, I condemn it. But do you think the average American gives a crap about this anyways? No, they don't.
No, they don't. No.
The average American is worried that they're having to pay $4.30 for gasoline in their cars, and they're worried that, you know, that they can't afford eggs and meat. Like, they're worried about we have voters in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania and Ohio who are barely able to put food on the table. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're barely able to live. And we have Democrat politicians going out there, the banks collapse, and they respond with, let's indict the man who basically had cheap prices during his presidency that allowed these people to live. This
Right.
is all it is. Like, the Dems, I think, don't understand that voters just don't care. It's the same thing with abortion. Like, you really think a poor family in rural Wisconsin is going to care about abortion when when both of the parents working are barely able to afford one child even now with all this inflation? I mean, there's just so many things to hammer the Democrat Party on, even with Trump's indictment, that the indictment doesn't do anything because Trump can just say, hey, listen, you know, Trump has a unique advantage over all the other candidates. He can say that he was president, like, he's a candidate and he was a president. He
Right.
can say that under my administration, I objectively did better than you at this. And Biden really has no comeback to that because Ron DeSantis, sure, he can attack Biden, but as a nominee, all you can do is attack. As the incumbent president, you know, and you're being attacked, all you can kind of say is, oh, yeah, well, how good would you do? And Ron DeSantis doesn't have any proof of how good he would do, really. Like, sure, you can point to handling in Florida, but that isn't a nation. Florida's a state. That's not the entire nation.
Right.
And
there's a lot more to go into in governing a state to running a nation. I mean,
right.
there's a little bit of a difference there.
Right, and also Florida was doing well before DeSantis got in, might I add. Like Rick Scott is really, I think, the one who should be getting credit for the economy in Florida. Like, Florida was doing really well even before DeSantis. DeSantis has only bolstered it, which is obviously a good thing. But in
DeSantis
essence,
made sure that Florida didn't turn to trash during 2020.
That's
when Ron DeSantis got popular with his response to COVID and the lockdowns and not locking down the state and not putting mandates and keeping it open. That's when he became very popular in the Republican Party. But that first year before then, he didn't really do much until he got to COVID.
I mean, DeSantis in 2019 had a negative approval rating because, I mean, like, you know, Democrats were hitting him hard in his first year of office when I believe he dismissed the Broward County sheriff. I forget which sheriff he dismissed, like, for bungling that mass shooting. I don't remember. It was either Polk or Broward. Or not Polk. That's Grady Judd. Never mind. That's the one base dude. But in all seriousness, like, Ron DeSantis, had COVID not happened, Ron DeSantis would just be another Joe Schmo in the GOP. Like, he would literally just be another random Joe Schmo.
Absolutely.
He would be.
He would. And I agree, because that's what made him popular, COVID. And then once his popularity happened, he was like, oh, now I need to do a lot more.
Right. I mean, and now keep in mind, Ron DeSantis is working with keep in mind, people say Ron DeSantis will be a good president. Well, I mean, he wouldn't be bad. Like, I would definitely take him over Biden, obviously. Like, I will take any Republican administration over Biden, but
depends
the
if
thing
it's Larry
is,
Hogan, but that's a little different story.
Right, but the problem is Ron DeSantis, once he gets into Washington, is he going to be an anti-establishment warrior? No, he's not. He'll get into office, and what is he going to do? He's going to he'll be tricked by people that tried to trick Trump, like John Bolton, you know, people like that, Rick Grinnell. Like, he'll be tricked by these Washington swamp creatures in coercing him into doing things that they want him to do. Like, he will be bought and sold by the donors. And that's why they don't want Trump. Trump is someone who, he was bought and sold at times, because there were kind of bro moments during his administration, like appointing John Bolton. That was a bro moment. But
yeah, I mean, you have that in every administration.
In every administration, you kind of have some face palms. Like, what are you thinking? I mean, Trump appears to have ditched his daughter Ivanka. He appears to have ditched Kushner. Like, Trump is setting himself up to be an anti-establishment warrior who has a proven track record of already being president. Ron DeSantis has none of that. And how does this relate to the indictment thing? This is their last hurrah because they know Trump is a threat to their system, and they know that if he gets into office, he will use that power he instituted the president can use, where the president can gut the federal government of basically everything, like of every staff member, you know, every key person. They know that Trump is going to do that. Like, if Trump gets in, Merrick Garland, gone. Head of the DOJ, gone. Head of the FDA, gone.
Military leaders, gone.
Literally every, like, he is going to gut the swamp like we have never seen if he's in, and they don't want that. They know Ron DeSantis will just uphold the status quo and not do anything major. Sure, he'll do tax cuts, but that's like every Republican administration known to man. Oh, wow, tax cuts. Yeah, that's really going to enthuse the hungry, poor voters in Ohio who are getting hit with inflation and fuel costs. I'm sure that definitely matters to them at the moment, when they already basically pay no taxes anyways.
Right. Yeah.
But,
yeah. So, yeah. We're getting into the part of the discussion where we're kind of out of, I guess, things to say here. I guess we can look at chat here and see what's going on. Trump is literally pro. Okay. No, I don't think he's pro-abortion. The LGBTQ community, they like Trump a lot because he's done stuff to protect their rights. There's no reason. No, I don't like the type of lifestyle that gay people have. I don't like. I'm a Christian, and so that's not. I don't agree with that. But I think they deserve rights as an American citizen. They're not necessarily bad people. I just disagree with their life choices. just because I disagree with them doesn't mean they shouldn't have rights. I mean, that's morally wrong, in my opinion. And I think many people agree with that. So, yeah.
I have no comment because I don't want to stir beef with anybody. I have no comment. Now, with the whole LGBTQ stuff, Trump was a bit squishy in that, but as I said, look at his, like, the people around him in his cabinet, like Grinnell and Kushner, kind of prove that. Like, Trump in 2016, before all that other crap happened, I think, like, if you compare 2020 Trump to 2016 Trump, 2016 Trump looks like a line in comparison. I mean, 2024 Trump, I think, is definitely someone who is a lot more refined. I mean, definitely he's been on point with his policy. Like, he has said he will push back against their agenda in schools. He'll push back against all this other crap. I mean, in all truth, like, Trump is putting himself in a good position to win. Do I think it's guaranteed? No, nothing is guaranteed. I mean, Trump could very well lose. I could see Trump losing similar to 2020 if the conditions are right, but the conditions aren't right now. The conditions are horrible for the Biden admin, and I think something we forgot to bring up with the 2022 midterms is Democrat candidates didn't tie themselves to Biden because they knew that was going to screw them over, because Biden had like a -15 approval. They knew that if they tied themselves to Biden, that would not go over well, and Democrats who did got screwed. You look at somebody like, who was the guy against Youngkin in Virginia? McAuliffe.
Terry McAuliffe, yes.
Yeah, McAuliffe tied himself to Biden and Obama and being the anti-Trump guy, and that completely screwed him over because voters were like, dude, what do you stand for other than I hate Trump and my opponent is Trump? Like, that was the thing. Like, Democrats, if they ride on Biden, don't work, and I think Biden is not super electable. 2020 was kind of a fluke. It was the worst possible. Like, literally, Trump was in the worst possible position in 2020 that an incumbent has ever been in, I think, since Jimmy Carter. Yeah. He had COVID lockdowns, which crippled his economy that he had going for him. He had the media slandering him. He had race riots breaking out in the cities that were out of his control. He was in a horrible position, a pandemic, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was a perfect storm. And across 3 states, Wisconsin, Arizona, Georgia, he only lost by like 50,000 votes in all those states combined.
Right.
Had Trump maybe just focused more on white working class voters and maybe cut back on the whole Democrats are the real racist stuff, and had, maybe even Democrats failed to turn out as much voters, we could have seen a different result. Like, 2020 was, people seem to forget that 2020 was very, very close. 2020 was not a blowout like these people think. They're like, oh, Trump, that was Trump's fault. Well, part of it, yeah, like, definitely I was disappointed in his campaign. He ran a horrible campaign in 2020 compared to 2016, and he still barely lost. It wasn't Trump's, like, all the external factors that were out of Trump's control are part of the reason why he lost. Like, the riots, Trump couldn't do anything about that because blue state governors, which were the riots were happening in, literally he couldn't do anything about that because blue state governors kept pushing back. And basically it was a perfect hellstorm, and Trump still put up a good fight and almost won. So you're telling me that in a perfect firestorm that most incumbents would have gotten washed? You're telling me that he's going to lose in 2024 when likely we're seeing a Trump surge in 2024. Likely we're seeing a more neutral environment, a much more like GOP friendly environment. You're telling me that he's going to lose? Really? You're telling me that he's unelectable in an environment where he almost won in a perfect storm? I don't believe that. Personally, I don't believe this whole Trump is unelectable. Like, in some states, yeah, but we don't need Arizona to win. We don't need Georgia to win. We need to focus on Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. We have Ohio and Iowa in the bag.
Nevada.
We have Texas. We don't even need Nevada, realistically. I mean, like, let me fill up my format right now.
We could lose Michigan, win Wisconsin, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, lose Georgia and Arizona, and win. Right now, that's the most realistic chance for Trump in 2024. Now, granted, he could definitely pick up Michigan if he does a populist campaign like 2016. But right now, there's absolutely no reason why I don't see Donald Trump winning in 2024 with the current climate. Now, if things get better and things start turning around for the Biden administration, yeah, Biden could have a very big surge in approval rating and polls, but that is very, very unlikely to happen within the next year. I mean, we're almost a year away. We're a year away from the primaries coming to an end in 2024. March of 2024 will be almost the end of the primary season, and then the presidential election, the general election, will start kickoff for the campaign. So we're around a year away from the 2024 presidential election. Okay, now give or take a couple months for campaigning, but basically we're a year away. And if things stay like this for the next year, I don't see why Trump can't win in 2024.
I don't either. Like, as Huel okay, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name. Huel Babineau, however you say it. As he said, 2020 was the worst possible environment. That's what we have all said here. Like, I've said that 50 times now. 2020 was a perfect firestorm for Trump to lose in a landslide, and he lost by 50,000 votes across 3 states.
Right. Absolutely.
And keep in mind, Trump has been getting very good with his messaging. I've asked people, like, what do you think of Trump? Like, I've asked Democrats, hey, is Trump campaigning effectively? And they have said, Trump's messaging is getting a lot better. Like, he is talking about things that matter. He's talking about, developing rural areas. He's talking about, rolling back the Biden executive orders. He's talking about resuming oil drilling, bringing jobs back, standing up to China, standing up to Russia, North Korea, Ukraine. All these countries that have been bullying us since Biden got in. I mean, Trump literally can prove his track record and say, hey, look, we got along with North Korea. We didn't get along with China, but we kept them in their place. We got along with Russia. We got along with Ukraine. We can look at Trump has a proven track record. And in an environment where he will likely be much more electable than he was in 2020, you're telling me that he's still going to lose? Like, I think Trump is the only candidate who can win Michigan. DeSantis will not even get close to winning Michigan. I think he'll probably lose by around 5 in Michigan, 5 to 6. I mean, DeSantis doesn't have, like, Michigan, you really need to drive up turnout in the rurals, and you also need to hold Macomb County. And Ron DeSantis, I just don't see winning Macomb County, if we're being serious, in Michigan. Wisconsin, that's the most conservative of the big 3. So definitely he could win Wisconsin, but you need at least 2 of the 3, and I don't see him winning Pennsylvania. And people are saying, oh, Trump is whining about 2020, so he'll be unelectable in all 3. No, he's not. Trump hasn't said anything about 2020, really.
He hasn't said anything since, I think, October? He hasn't said anything about 2020 since October. He hasn't said anything since he announced his candidacy in November 15th to be exact. So since November 15th, let's go with that. Since November 15th of 2022, he hasn't said anything about 2020. And it's looking very good for him as of March 20th of 2023.
Yes, and I'm gonna be kind of a nerd, but like, you look at the RCP 2024 versus Biden v. Trump, and again, I don't know if this is like to try to fool Republicans, but if you take out that bullcrap Susquehanna poll that had Biden up by 13 nationwide, Trump has a lead in the polling aggregate. That never happened in 2016 or 2020. It happened once in 2016 at the end of July, but that's like when nothing mattered. But if Trump is leading in the polling aggregate, if Trump wins the popular vote, it's over. There is no way Biden wins if Trump wins the popular vote. Trump doesn't even need the popular vote to win any of these states, but the fact he's only down by 1.2 in the popular vote spread right now, average, which I don't know how real these are. Polling is horrible. I'm not going to take it at face value. I think you need to dig deeper. Truthfully, even if these god-awful polls show Trump is competitive in the popular vote, then we can talk about it. Be like, okay, well, then we can discuss it. I mean, truth be told, popular vote polling hasn't been the worst. Popular vote polling in 2022 wasn't that far off. I mean, it predicted, I think, RCP had like Republicans +4 or something like that for the generic ballot. And, well, I mean, it was like R+2, R+2.5, so it wasn't that far off. 2024, I mean, like 2020, they had Biden winning by a lot. Like in the popular, they had Biden up by like 5 in the popular vote. He won it by like 3.7. So, in all seriousness, the popular vote polls haven't been that far off, and I think those are ones we can take more seriously. The state by state polls are stupid. Don't trust those. Those are BS. But I guess to summarize it up, to summarize what we've been saying, Trump was faced with a horrible environment in 2020. He still barely lost.
Yeah.
He's going to be faced likely with a much more winnable environment in 2024. He'll probably win if that holds.
I think that we're going to see a Grover Cleveland 1992. I think that's what we're going to see. That type of scenario where he lost his re-election, Grover Cleveland, and not that now it's different parties, obviously, but he makes a political comeback in 1892. I think I said 1992. I mean,
yeah, I was about to say like what?
No, 1892. Excuse me there. In 1892, and he won against the sitting president, Benjamin Harrison. So, yes, a political comeback for the president is a very hard thing to happen, but with the right environment, it's very, very possible.
American Predictions wants to know if you can join AP.
AP, I'll send you the link in the Discord, and you can join. We love AP. AP is a big goat.
Bro literally supports these. Okay. So these people want to talk about being electable, yet want Trump to come out like hard against gays. And again, I think that is something he should do. Like, I'm heavily against that stuff. I think it should be shunned from society. But is saying that on the campaign trail really going to get you elected? Like, is that going to help you in the suburbs, which you so claim that Trump is? Like, if Trump is already unelectable in the suburbs, which he kind of is, you really think that coming out hard against like gay marriage and saying that they should be imprisoned and stuff, not imprisoned, but like saying harsh stuff is going to help them? No, it's not. I mean, that's going to like, and I'm not a big electability guy in all seriousness. Like, I'm not one of those people who says, oh, Trump is unelectable, because he's not. I mean, the suburbs don't matter entirely in some states. Like Wisconsin, you can win without the wild counties being too heavily red. I mean, Trump proved that in 2016. You don't need to win Waukesha by ridiculous margins like you don't need to win with Romney margins. As long as you get the rural turnout up, and Trump kind of had a rural turnout dip off in some parts of the state. Like Green Bay, I think I don't know. I mean, no, it won't help him, but I want him to be against it. Well, Trump has said, like, he has kind of taken a ghosted stance against it. He has talked about pushing back on their agenda, but he hasn't said anything about targeting them as people. And I think that's the right approach. In this country, we're not ready for us to be like this hard line. We're not ready for like a hard line, anti-LGBTQ stuff yet, I think. We're not ready for that yet. Because if he does that, the GOP politically suicides itself. You need to move the Overton window slowly like the Democrats have done. Yes. The Democrats in the 90s for abortion, for example, they've really moved the window on that. In the 90s, they were all like, guys, safe, legal, and rare. That's all we want. And then it slowly moved to, okay, well, we want it to be available just in case. And then it expanded to, we want it no matter what, whenever we want, even after birth.
Yeah.
That they've moved the Overton window. We need to do the same thing, but slowly. That's what DeSantis did in Florida, which I applaud. Like, he did that sort of, but it didn't go far enough.
DeSantis has his W's, and he has L's. He's got his pros and cons.
The Big Tech bill was an L.
I'm sorry?
Big Tech bill was a major L for DeSantis. That was pathetic. That bill he passed, it's like, oh, wow. You're really protecting free speech, dude. Good idea. Completely watered down bill by Chris Sproles. But I don't know. I'm kind of turning into a senile old man. It's Monday. It's 8:16 p.m. I mean, I'm going senile. So, I mean, if I start to not make sense, which I probably haven't for a while, then that's why.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello. Welcome. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
No.
All right. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Good.
All right. So for everyone who's still watching for the serious part of this live stream, this podcast, that is now over because we're going to get into major open discussion here. So if anyone was here for the the actual part that matters for this podcast, you all can just leave now because it's going to get a little bit crazy. So
The serious part is done.
the serious part's done, yes. Now that AP is doing, the serious part is over. So actually, it probably ended a while ago. But thank you all for watching the podcast part, and I hope to see you guys next time. So let's move into open discussion.
All
So,
right, I changed the name. I have my name changed.
We got a DeSantis lover here.
Oh boy.
Wait, so you guys support Trump?
As of now,
Yes.
yes.
Currently, as of 2023, March 20th, yes.
Yes.
All right.
No.
So,
Things can change. I'm not ruling anyone out, but things can change.
yeah, that's true. So what are we basically gonna talk about right now?
Well,
Anything,
I guess first
really.
off, why are you supporting DeSantis?
Well, first off, because DeSantis, his big re-election victory is a big reason why I switched my support. But that's not the only reason. DeSantis is just really good on the issues, all the good things he's done in Florida. And I really just don't I really just want someone younger for 2024, basically. And I think DeSantis is that person that I want for 2024. And yeah. So why are you guys supporting Trump?
Because I want a president who will get stuff done in the White House and won't cave to the donors.
Why do you think DeSantis would do that?
Because I want a president who will get stuff done in the White House and won't cave. Why am I hearing myself?
What's
the heck?
up?
Why do you think DeSantis?
Hold on. He's
Okay.
got. He was watching, I guess, the stream. You're gonna have to close that window out.
But why do you think DeSantis would be,
Because look at his voting record when DeSantis was a U.S. rep in for Florida. Look at his voting record. Ron DeSantis voted basically like Paul Ryan in the House, and he was unpopular in his own district. Had Trump not endorsed him for governor in 2018, he would have lost the primary. Even if he would have won the primary, he wouldn't have won the general election. Like people fail to remember. People fail to remember DeSantis almost lost to a gay crackhead in 2018. He also, not to mention,
Blue wave year. Hey, blue wave year.
Florida was immune to blue wave years. 2014, Rick Scott won by not that much in a red wave environment. So I don't want to hear Florida was immune to red wave environments until pretty much recently.
Yeah, because Rick Scott was against a pretty strong opponent. I mean.
Yeah, but he still won.
Wasn't it Charlie Crist in 2010? That's not a real strong candidate.
2014, I'm talking. Yeah, it was against Crist in 2014, I think.
Yeah, that's not a strong candidate.
Maybe strong. He was stronger back then.
Yeah, he was stronger back then. I mean,
he was pathetic in 2022,
But talking about the House record, I mean, you can attack DeSantis for his voting record, but let's be honest, he was one of the founding members of the Freedom Caucus.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He was a founding member, but he wasn't. He didn't vote like one. It doesn't matter if you're part of it or not. If you vote like a member of it, congrats. But
let me finish my point. So yeah, he has had some questionable votes in 2012, or 2012, 2014, 2018, whatever. Well, Trump was basically like a moderate Republican back then as well. I mean, he endorsed Mitt Romney in when was it? 2012, right? So, you can't let Trump off the hook for that. And also,
I never said I did.
Yeah, but that's why Trump and DeSantis both basically have a pretty questionable past. So, I mean, yeah, just take that for what it's worth.
I mean, the DeSantis is always kind of DeSantis up until DeSantis is conservative. I'll give him I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's a good governor, but the thing is when he gets into when you get into a federal office like president, the highest federal office in the country, you're going to be facing a lot of heat. I mean, DeSantis, let's face it, DeSantis is pretty crappy at debating. He's going to be facing a lot of pressure on the debate stage in 2024. He won't be able to handle the pressure. He also struggles to handle, he also struggles heavily when it comes to facing people in his own party. Like his House Speaker, Chris Sproles is a complete piece of crap. Chris Sproles has watered down almost everything good DeSantis has tried to do, and DeSantis doesn't stand up to him. He just lets it happen. And if you're going to let that happen in a state government where the stakes are high but not as high, the federal government, things get 10 times worse because you're going to have dark money being thrown at you. You're going to have people trying to make deals with you. I mean, where is DeSantis getting this money from?
All right. So basically,
We can hear you.
you're talking about the
All right,
presidency.
good.
So you're talking about the presidency where DeSantis would cave. Well, he never caved as governor. You know, when he opened up Florida, he never caved. He never caved into the attacks from the media. He never caved to the attacks from the establishment. So why do you think he would cave when he's president? You know, all the good things he's passed, like the "Don't Say Gay" bill, as it's called.
I'm not discrediting his
That's the wrong
accomplishments.
name,
What
AP.
I'm saying is some of the stuff he has passed has been good, but there have been like the good stuff, like that one free speech bill or whatever, like the big tech bill. That got watered down, and DeSantis didn't call anybody out for. Like he said, you know, he wanted this aggressive bill to protect free speech in Florida, but then he signs it into law when it was this watered down bill by his House Speaker. As I said, DeSantis would cave. Like he caved when he was in Congress to the donors. Like he will go where the wind blows. And in Florida, he's in a Trumpian state. And where the wind is blowing in Florida is you need to be Trumpian to win, or at least conservative enough. And I think DeSantis is someone who will go where the wind blows. If the wind blows him to be more right-wing like it has recently, it works. Trump endorsed DeSantis in 2018 when DeSantis was still kind of a weak candidate. Like DeSantis was a crappy campaigner back then.
Well, basically,
DeSantis,
but DeSantis was Trump's best option because
he was the primary field was crap.
Trump also said he would rather support Adam Putnam, but Adam Putnam supported Jeb Bush in 2016, so he shouldn't be saying that he'd rather support Adam Putnam in 2018. I'm just saying that.
I think Trump is just.
When
I
you
think
say
Trump
that,
is just putting.
AP.
Trump is just putting that out there. I think to discredit DeSantis for 2024. I don't think he actually means it. He's just doing it. He's really just doing it so he can knock DeSantis out of the primary. I think that's really what he's trying to do. But
Yeah.
in essence, as I
AP.
said, DeSantis, he does again. We don't know where he stands on things like trade. We don't know where he is on things like fracking because he has opposed fracking in the Everglades and stuff, which I can understand why. But at the same time, we don't know where
Florida.
he stands on a lot of issues. I mean, it's Florida after all, but we don't know where he is.
Trump
Like,
also
that's
did support fracking in Florida. I mean, you know that.
well, yeah, but Trump had a proven record of being for fracking. DeSantis, even though Democrats are the anti-fracking party, but they claim not to be, they will attack him rigorously for that in Pennsylvania, where John Fetterman claimed to be for fracking, and guess what? That's all it took because Oz didn't attack him for it really all that much in ads. I mean, that's just how it goes. Like, DeSantis, when it comes time to win the important states you need to win, like electability here is what we're getting into. The 3 states you need to win, I don't think DeSantis gets any of them. I mean, you lose because we don't have Colorado, Virginia, and Georgia anymore. You need Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Right now, I don't see him winning Michigan, and I definitely don't see him getting Pennsylvania. Even if he wins Arizona and Georgia, that puts him over 270, but even then, Wisconsin, that's out of the... I mean, Wisconsin might be out of the question, who knows? But in all seriousness, DeSantis isn't as electable as Trump. He also, as I said, he'll cave. I mean, it's proven. Like, it's proven. His track record in Congress literally proves my point.
DeSantis is stronger in the Sun Belt than he is in the Rust Belt. DeSantis can win Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, maybe not. If the climate's right for him, he could make New Mexico competitive. But honestly, in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan, I don't think. I think he'll run up the margins a decent amount, but I just don't think it'll be enough to get in Pennsylvania and Michigan. Now, he could definitely win Wisconsin, but there's 2 other states. It would be very close.
I gotta be honest there. The thing is about running DeSantis and Trump is that, well, we at least know what Trump's basically gonna do.
Wait a minute. Are you who I think you are?
Yeah, I'm exactly who you think you are. I might have.
Oh, hi
started up a
Ron, how's it
political
going?
channel.
I was about to say you sounded similar to. Oh, okay. That's
Wait,
I
wait,
might
wait.
have started up
Oh,
a
I'm missing
political
something
channel.
here.
Huh?
Who are you?
I'm North Star's buddy on Discord.
He's
Oh.
someone I've known for quite a while. He's apparently infiltrated the stream. It's whatever. He's based. It's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. As long as he's not
No.
a huge lib, we're good.
No, he's
No,
not.
I'm
He
not
hates
I'm not no
liberals.
libtard.
Okay, good. All right, you're good.
I mean, he's a redneck Trump supporter. What else? What is there not to like?
Exactly.
Anyways.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying though, we know basically what Trump's gonna do. DeSantis, well, we can kind of just sit back and make guesstimates, but really, there's no clear evidence because, like, based on what he does, yeah, there might be some good out of him, but other times it's like you're gonna scratch your head probably at him a lot, and that's why I'm saying, yeah, Trump has, I'd say more, he's more electable, I would say, because we know what he's done in the past. We know that we know basically what he would do, and and he talks a lot about what he would do as well, like the removal of I forgot what it was, something about LGBTQ teachers or something like that, with to do with that. And I can go all day about those guys. North Star knows that. Probably not going to say exactly what I say when I'm talking to him though, but yeah, that's all. I don't know.
I think that everyone's hit that time of night where we all just lose our energy.
I haven't been that high of energy most of the night, anyways, because it's Monday night and everything sucks.
It's 9:30.
Exactly.
Oh, we got I think we have a few time zone differences here though.
Yeah.
Well, I guess should we get into some fellow YouTubers and how cringe they've been getting in the recent
Sure.
weeks?
Let's do that. I have no
not?
involvement in this. Though.
All right, so I think everyone knows the legendary Wyatt Tomlin.
Oh God. No. Oh God. No.
That already sounds bad.
Oh, this poor soul doesn't know who Wyatt Tomlin is. Oh
Wait,
No,
God.
I really don't.
Oh my God. Well, we're gonna have to poison him. It's fine. Well, just take it away.
Is the legendary American prediction still on here?
Yeah, he is. He's just not speaking at all.
Oh,
No,
no,
he's
now
not.
he's gone. Now he's gone.
he got owned in the DeSantis debate and then left.
All right, well that was fun. So Wyatt Tomlin is this pathetic
Oh God, that already looks
kid,
bad.
kid who says that he's 15 when we all know he's actually 11, who acts like he's a 2-year-old. So
He is a 2-year-old.
he is a 2-year-old. You're right. Here's this latest community post. Guess who's not getting arrested on Tuesday, y'all? Hillary Clinton. So yeah, you can just see how absolutely awful.
North Dakota lean, bro. You
Did he-
can't be
okay.
serious. North Dakota going blue. No
You
way.
can-
No.
you can-
That
you
is
can
a
see-
joke.
This is him.
Animal
um,
abuse.
Did he actually post something about Hillary Clinton getting arrested?
No, he's saying, look who's not. Hillary Clinton isn't.
Is the whole Trump
Okay.
indictment thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course Hillary Clinton's not getting arrested.
The
Because
deep state's on her side, that's why.
yeah, dude, literally, I think I've been on an FBI watch list for how much stuff I've looked up about her. Like,
Dude, the amount of stuff I've looked up about like the election in 2020 and
Hello?
all that other stuff.
Hello?
I think I'm probably
You
on a
back?
watch list.
Sorry, I was trying to make a point, but then my mic stopped working because I got a
Skill
FaceTime
issue.
call.
Yeah. Skill issue. Oh, we were just talking about what Wyatt Tomlin's been up to.
You know,
He's
I
been-
feel like this kid.
His account is dead. I literally always go on it, and it's just community posts about Wyatt's world elections. It's like it's a world.
Yeah. This
Bro
is a
actually
fantasy
thinks
world.
he.
has
Bro
Arkansas-
actually thinks he would win North Dakota, dude.
He has Arkansas as blue.
Dude,
Oh, that's his-
Tomlin
that's
would
his
lose to the weakest. Like Tomlin, if he were to be a presidential candidate, would get absolutely. Dude, he would get annihilated by Nikki Haley. Like, that's how bad he
If
is.
Wyatt Tomlin was a presidential candidate, all these community posts
D-
would be exposed.
Yeah, I remember watching this when it came out, and I
Bro,
laughed
what?
at it. I don't know.
This is him. This is Michael
He's
Jackson.
Bro,
doing
is
the
this-
annoying
This
looks
is
like
White
a-
Tom, not Michael Jackson.
You want to know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a speed bump from my truck.
True. Yeah, no, I think
what?
I have died of cringe.
That is
Yeah,
hilarious.
This is
I have died.
this is Wyatt Tomlin. He will live in infamy forever as the
Play
worst
get the
YouTuber.
vaccine.
Oh,
Play the Grammy
should I
Award, get the vaccine.
should I play it? Let's see.
Yeah, the Grammy Award winner. It was on the top 100.
Hold on, I gotta unmute
What
this.
the hell?
Oh, could you hear it? Could you hear it?
Yeah, I could hear
Yeah, I
that.
can hear it
Alright.
too. What the?
Spread the information to get the vaccine.
I don't wanna. Never mind. I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
You sure he's 11 years old and not 9?
He's 9.
Spread the information to get the vaccine.
Wow, this is a nice Microsoft Movie Maker song.
Yeah, I
Spread
mean,
it to your
sounds like it came straight out of Garage
family.
Band.
Yeah, it's awful. He's wearing his biker shorts in that picture, which is great.
That came straight out of Garage Band, no doubt about it.
So
It
they
did.
don't get COVID.
Sounds like stuff I recorded in first grade on the school iPad, you know.
I remember there used to be this app on my mom's old iPad that she let me use. It was like this app where like you could make
I'm
like rap
strong.
remixes of yourself, and
Disagree.
I would do stuff like that. This dude is doing it as a middle schooler.
AP,
I did that when I was like 5 and in kindergarten.
AP, you should start your own music channel. I think you do good.
You know,
So real.
I've
Oh,
always
let's go to
wanted to
Lexington.
get into music, but I don't understand anything about it.
Red Ohio. No, I need to tell
Same,
Red
though.
Ohio something. He is not adding me to the group chat on Twitter. And
Why?
I do account and all this stuff, but I didn't get added. It's just
Oh.
it's just this Twitter stuff, but yeah.
Red Ohio, I'm gonna block you if you don't add AP. Yep, that's what's gonna happen.
That's racist.
It
You
isn't.
don't have to worry about getting blocked by, you know, big old political channel.
Hey,
You were gonna say something offensive there, weren't you?
so
I know
No,
how
I
you were.
wasn't,
You
actually.
were tempted to say the N-word, weren't you?
No, actually, not that time.
Well, not
I
that
literally-
time, but I mean,
I forgot what I was gonna say. That's literally what happened.
I know
Has anyone
how
seen-
I know how you work. You like to never. I probably shouldn't say that. Never mind.
I kind of don't want to have to private this stream since it's kind
No,
of like
no,
a
no, no, no.
podcast.
Well, I mean, as long as you don't do it. Right now is not the time for a little bit of trolling. We
You're
like
right.
trolling, but not right now.
old line.
What?
Old line state. You can edit all this out and just keep the professional stuff in.
I kind of like it. It's it adds a little bit of you know.
It lets
Something
us
on the-
be actually who we
Some
are and not be
interesting
You
like.
can
a
see
bunch
how
of
stupid
cocksuckers.
we are. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
know-
People don't ever watch the end anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. I mean, people watch like the first 30 minutes and then they're like, "Oh, this sucks. It's a bunch of idiots."
I know somebody who definitely is watching the end of this right now.
Who?
The person I was on a voice chat with right before I got on this, Caleb. He's definitely.
Oh, yeah, he probably. Well, I know someone else who is too. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking, this dude just sent me. Okay. Yeah. No. You know who you are. You know who you are, Mr. Arkansas man. I'm calling him Arkansas man. You know.
Oh,
who
I know
you
who you're
are.
talking about.
Arkansas. This is
You don't know who he is. None of you know who he is.
all right. Can we
I
can we
kind
get
of know
back
who
to get back to politics?
No.
Probably.
Yeah. Also,
Politics
so
are
you guys
stupid.
Really discredit. You guys really discredit DeSantis and how he will do in Wisconsin. I think he'd do really good in the WoW counties.
Yeah, the WoW counties aren't the entire state, as proven by every Republican before
I know.
Donald Trump.
He
No,
needs the
let me say
rules,
this
and
right
I don't think he'll get the rural turnout.
I know he'll need the rules, but so you know how DeSantis like maxed out the rules in Florida. He's like he got
That's
he got
Florida,
them,
not
like,
Wisconsin.
70 and 80%.
It was
No,
a low
but-
turnout midterm
But
election.
just let- Also, DeSantis' parents were raised in the Rust Belt as well, so I think that'll also help.
Oh wow, yeah,
And
that'll make him electable.
I think in the drift list, he just needs like some good. He just needs to campaign a lot in the Rust
I mean,
Belt.
the thing is, making DeSantis' parents be raised in the Rust Belt, what's that going to improve about, like, let's say somebody lives in upstate New York, not the Rust Belt, and they're going to be like, wow, cool, he was raised in the Rust Belt. I don't care.
I mean,
What other
upstate New
stuff
York
do we
is
have?
technically, I think it is a part of the Rust Belt, but
It might be. I don't know.
it is. But realistically, DeSantis' parents, like Mitt Romney, was raised in, like, I believe Romney himself was raised in, what's that one county in Michigan? The stupid Oakland County. He was raised in Oakland County, and guess what? He performed like crap in Michigan. I mean, just because you're from a certain state or your family is from a certain state doesn't mean you're electable. Not to mention Ron DeSantis, like the WoW counties, Ron DeSantis ain't getting George Bush margins in the WoW counties. I mean, he's not going to get 80% of the vote in any of them. He's not going to get 70%. I mean, the WoW counties are way different than they were 10, 15 years ago. I mean, they have, and again, people fail to remember, the suburbs really have never been on our side. I mean, if you dig into like suburban development, the suburban Atlanta counties that were allegedly solidly Republican, they weren't built up yet. They were all rural, and that's part of the reason why they were red, was because they weren't as built up. There wasn't as much, let's say, diversity in those counties, and because of that, they were red. But as they diversified and as, you know, suburban housing got built up, they trended blue. Like, that's what's happening in the WoW counties a little bit later than expected. Like, the WoW counties, I think, are starting to urbanize, and that's what's screwing them over. It's not Trump being unpopular there. It's the fact that they're being built up and more Democrat voters are moving to them. I don't think they're ever going to flip. Like, Ozaki could flip blue. That's the only one I see flipping. Other than that, like, Waukesha and Washington won't flip.
I have some important news. American predictions. Can you still hear me?
Man just straight up died.
AP.exe has stopped working.
Exactly.
Well, I wanted to tell him on the stream, but it looks like he won't be able to respond. Sad.
Dang.
Why is my chat not working anymore? I'm trying to watch the chat.
The chat on YouTube live streams the past couple months has been arse.
Yeah.
YouTube has been a very unstable platform this past year, and I don't know why.
Because people are leaving and going to Rumble.
Rumble, I don't know. Rumble, like, the only reason I've ever used Rumble is to watch 10,000 Donkeys. So, if you know what that which you should know what that reference is. If you don't, I'm disappointed.
It's not what it's called, but thanks for cleaning that up.
Oh.
Yeah, no, like if I said what it was actually called, then
Hello?
There's two of him. Oh god.
Why is there two of them?
Wait,
there's
what?
two DeSantis's in here. Oh god.
Oh, no. Which one should I keep
All
on?
right.
Oh, hello?
Here.
Okay, that
Hello?
one. All right, can you hear me? Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Okay. So, what were you gonna tell me?
Oh, so I have some news from Red Ohio, aka Rust Belt Elections. He says, and I quote, "Tell AP I want to meet him and take him on a date."
Oh my god. That's kind of
Please
gay.
delete the stream.
No, keep it up for that reason.
And then he said in
Okay, I don't want to hear it.
No, all right.
Say it anyways.
He said in brackets no homo. So I think we're good.
All right.
Does he have socks
Maybe.
on? Does Red Ohio have socks on right now? That's
Yes.
the important
Probably
question.
should.
No, he doesn't.
If he has socks on, then you know, as long as you have socks on and you say no homo, you're good. As long as you
Oh,
have
yeah,
the socks are
definitely.
the most important part, though.
Yes.
All right. So
Let's
I
get
get
back
your
on
point.
topic. Let's
No.
get back on topic.
Yeah, but North Star, I get your point about, like, you know, how DeSantis wouldn't do good in, like, rural areas. You know, you say that, but Mitt Romney, he was going up against Barack Obama, and Barack Obama was like an electoral juggernaut in the Rust Belt, just to be honest. And
Obama was not a juggernaut. He was high. He had a negative approval rating at the time of his re-election. I mean, Obama was a very beatable 2012 candidate, and we nominated the worst person possible for it. I mean, it was unreal. Like that election, I think
Yeah.
2012 we bungled so hard.
That was one of those
Yeah,
you had one
totally.
job moments.
Totally, but yeah, Mitt Romney was a terrible candidate, but Ron DeSantis is not like a Mitt Romney 2.0. You have to say that because you're going up against Joe Biden. He's no Barack Obama. Joe Biden is like 80, first of all, and he just will have so many gaffes, so he'll probably struggle to campaign. I mean, it'll be hard for DeSantis to lose that.
I
Because
mean,
he has-
Katie Hobbs didn't campaign in Arizona at all, and guess what? Democrats
He
got the
did.
vote out early enough. So I
Actually,
mean,
I want to disapprove that point of view of yours because she actually did. It just didn't get a bunch of press because, Carrie Lake was, the shining star, I guess, because she was
AP
just
loves
always...
Carrie Lake.
I
If
really
you-
don't. I really don't. She is a grifter and she's cringe, and I really want Kimberly Yee to win that election. Kimberly Yee, she was in the Republican primary. She dropped out.
I don't know. Yee is just like she's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of Yee, but I mean, better
what do
than
you have
Ducey.
Okay, what do you have against her? What's wrong with her? Like, honestly.
Just kind of a generic Like I'm not a fan of these like generic conservatives that are just like these like McCain, Romney, like just very generic,
not
very boring. Like
Romney? You're comparing her to McCain and Romney.
I said she's similar. She's very boring. Like she's a boring candidate. I'm not saying she's bad.
No,
She's just boring.
She's not a boring. She, in one of her ads, she said, "What is wrong with your mic?
What?
What happened to your mic?" Like,
I mean,
honestly.
like Kimberly Yee,
No.
I don't know. Like
No,
Yee,
no.
as I said, Yee is just not. She's not exciting. Like there's nothing about like
What is that
there was a-
noise?
there was a lot of candidates,
Sorry, that
you know,
was
like
me.
in 2022 to
Oh.
not get excited about, and Yee was one of them. Yee is just sure in
Oh.
Arizona she's electable, but I mean even then I still think it's going to be a tough road for any Republican to win there now, given what's happened.
All right, yeah, okay. But Kimberly Yee, you look at one of her ads. One of her ads, she was saying that she was like a president, like a Donald Trump conservative, and that she would build the wall and all this. How are you comparing her to McCain and Romney?
She was
That is
likely
just
doing
unfair.
that to appeal to the Trump base that lives in like Mojave County. More
Exactly.
than likely it wouldn't. She was doing it to pander. Do I see her? Would she have
Ew.
governed that way? I don't know. I don't think she would have
Well,
governed that way.
How do all these populists have against Kimberly Yee? She was an amazing candidate. She won by 10 points in the treasury election. And she was just
I'm not even gonna
And you-
comment on this. Like this is you're just making a fool of yourself. Like I'm done. Like I'm not even gonna participate in this
No, I'm
debate
not.
anymore.
You
It's
are
going
making-
nowhere.
You are making.
I'm
yourself.
making a fool of myself. Oh yeah, sure, all right, yeah, your candidate
You
that didn't even make it to the primary, the candidate that
you
dropped out.
support
Okay, yeah,
Henry-
sure.
Okay.
You-
We're
Harry
moving on.
Harry Lake lost to Katie Hobbs. You know that, right?
Dude, I need a bag of
Okay,
popcorn.
I have to give AP credit for that one. That's pretty
Yes,
sad.
she did. I'm not saying Lake was
And
perfect.
she
I
told-
I
she
liked
told-
Lake.
she-
I liked Lake, but did I think she had the greatest chance of winning? Not entirely. Did I think Yee had the greatest chance of
you
winning?
thought
No.
she'd win. You thought she would win. You probably thought she would win by like 15.
I had her winning by half a point in my final prediction.
I had
No,
her winning by
wait,
2.
I did.
I
My
had
final
winning by
prediction.
two.
I said it. I took down on my predictions because they sucked. But I said my final prediction. Lake will pull it off by half a point or a tilt R margin. It's gonna be really close, and it'll go either way. That's what I said. I didn't have her winning by like 5, like some people had her. I always thought that was outlandish. but-
Okay, I want to change the subject to something absolutely hilarious. AP, do you remember North Star? I don't know if you were watching the stream, but remember my AP? Remember my 200 subscriber live stream when I showed you that guy who made fun of my last governor prediction?
Oh yeah, that guy.
Have you seen my community posts lately?
Yeah, you're like wishing him a happy birthday or something.
You saw the pictures I put on of him?
Yeah, you were like, guys, we have to get this guy. We have to watch this guy's new live stream and all that.
Yeah. So North Star, this is the guy who made fun of my my prediction.
Oh
He's
boy.
a grown man, has 3 children, and lives real close to me.
That guy looks like Jared from Subway.
He looks like Peter Griffith.
That guy looks like he does things to children in his spare time.
Yes,
Oh, no.
Minnesota predictions. It's Mark Ronchetti's third cousin.
I
He
mean,
lives in Maryland.
is he a Biden supporter?
No, he's a Hogan Rhino.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like
So he's like the
GOP Electabro Twitter base.
Yeah. He ran for
He looks like-
Republican Central Committee in 2022 and got like 3%.
I swear, these Twitter Electabro rhinos know so much about electability, but they can't ever seem to get into Congress. Funny how that works.
Hello?
Hi, sorry, I left. It stopped working again.
Wait, you're talking to the other one.
No, this is mine. I joined a new one.
Man is
Oh.
running a computer from 1980.
Wait.
Relatable.
Huh?
I'm
Hello?
on my- Hello?
Hello.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
We can hear you, AP.
All right, I'm on my iPhone 7, so it's really glitchy and stuff. So
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Nice. What happened to your Mac?
it's just out of battery, and I don't feel like charging it.
Ah, I see. So, any big news about California, or is it still just going into the worst direction possible?
California is California. I mean, they have their rolling blackouts and stuff all the time, and then they're like,
I
"Yeah,
mean-
let's do a full electricity because that's gonna work real well."
First 4 seconds.
California moment.
There's no blackouts. Actually, you
Whoa.
guys are making fun of California. Oh, you guys are making fun of California, but we've been having a lot of rain recently.
You've been having
Yeah,
a lot of
so I mean, my state, Minnesota's been getting a decent amount of rain and snow lately. A lot of precipitation the past couple weeks.
We haven't gotten
I-
any snow this year.
No,
I live in
you
New
don't-
York, and
you
we
don't
got,
know
like,
how much rain.
12 inches of snow the other day.
California
You know
is getting the rain they
California-
finally need. California was in extreme drought for like 2 years, like 2 to 3 years. I mean, they're
Wait,
getting what they need. Like, I'm
add-
glad to see California getting rain though.
Yeah, thank you. But add
It was depressing to watch it go into drought because it was fueling the stupid climate change narrative. So
Someone's talking about
I-
Gavin
I-
Newsom in the
Add
comments.
Minnesota predictions to this stream.
Minnesota predictions, you must join.
Yeah, we did Minnesota prediction because he's been taking a break, and I just want to see how he's doing.
He broke his finger or something.
Oh,
I
really?
did that one time.
I haven't talked to him like months. It's
you don't need a
absolute-
finger. Fingers are useless.
I broke my finger and my knuckle one time.
Well, that is definitely a Ron moment.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I need to.
That is a New Amsterdam moment.
Oh, man. That stinks.
The lack of disappointment in Old Line's voice. He's like, "Oh man." He's like, "Oh no." Anyways,
Carry
no,
on,
anyway.
carry on.
that's
Is
not
JP
meant as an
dead
insult,
again?
by the way. I'm not saying that was a good thing that he can't, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I think Kimberly Yee would honestly have won that election. Do you guys think Kimberly Yee would have won?
Oh God, we're gonna start this debate again. Oh boy.
Oh, no. What
Do you
what
not
election
think
is he
he
even
would-
talking about? I kind of got lost.
If you
The
don't think
2022
Kimberly-
Arizona governor race. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, well, yeah, I
If
have
you-
no idea about
you
that because
didn't
I don't pay attention to
Kimberly Yee
Arizona.
would have won, honestly, dude. Really?
I don't.
I
Could
have
have gone
I have
either way, but
photos. I have a few leaked photos from Rust Belt elections. I don't know if I should share them.
just do it.
Don't share them. Don't share them.
Just do it.
It's not about you, AP, necessarily.
No, don't do it.
Necessarily. Oh, just do it.
Oh,
No, don't do it. Don't listen to North Star. He supported Carrie Lake, and he thought she would win.
He voted- he voted for
Carrie
Justin
Lake
Trudeau.
because She was the nominee.
Did you seriously just try to pull a Justin Trudeau card?
Yeah. The Justin Trudeau is a device used
Oh,
since Justin
share.
Trudeau. Typically, it's
That-
an indicator of Justin Trudeau.
What was that, AP?
Why did you share it?
What
I
is
don't
going on there?
I don't know.
Turn it off. Turn it off. Don't share your screen anymore. All right,
Okay,
now you
all
have
right.
to private. now you have to private this stream after.
I don't think I should.
It's gonna get banned.
You think so?
Yeah, I honestly think so.
We haven't said anything like that violates the TOS.
No. We have.
so-
I mean, I can change that if you want.
No. Don't.
Oh God,
please.
no! I've trust
I'm
me. I'm
kidding.
already very good at like almost getting people TOS. That's what I'm good at.
Certain person's watching me and she's commenting back on everything I say.
What?
We don't talk about that.
What?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course you know what I'm talking about.
AP.
Yeah.
I heard that you. I'm sorry. I heard. Wait, what am I saying here? Have you heard? Excuse me, can't talk. Have you heard that Buckeye is dating Natalie Biden?
Oh God.
Yeah, I saw.
What Biden?
Oh God. We're starting this again. Oh boy.
We're starting it again.
That was a State of the Union joke.
Did he private that stream?
Yeah, because I said multiple things in there that could have gotten us taken down.
Oh God.
Like what I said about Hakeem Jeffries.
Oh.
typical North Star.
Like
moment.
when Hakeem Jeffries appeared on the screen and I said a
Yeah,
sentence.
stop. Just stop right there.
How people like that greet each other.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But yeah, so I actually have proof, AP, if you want me to DM it to you. But yeah.
DM me
Okay.
what?
A picture of them together.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh yeah.
He showed
Okay.
That was such a.
Did I send that to you?
I watched him make it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I sent it to you.
Who
Yeah.
edits that? Who
What?
edits that?
What? I can't hear you.
Sounds like a robot
Can you
spilled.
hear me?
Robot with water spill.
Nah, it's very crackly.
Hello, can you hear me? I come in peace.
Hello?
Hello, hello, can you hear me? I come in peace.
Barely.
Hello, hello.
You might want to, get out and come back in.
Probably.
But we're gonna end this stream soon because it's getting boring. Really?
we
Really?
do a little bit of trolling. We do a little trolling. Bro, AP says I made a fool of myself, bro. That's I don't know what to say. Like, I mean, I'm half awake and I still put up a good fight, so I mean.
Hello?
Dude, when I get sleepy, that's when the politic part of me really kicks in. Is when I get sleepy and I'm like, you know what? I don't care what I say anymore. Here you go.
Hello, can you hear me? I come in peace.
Yes, we can. Welcome
No,
back.
we can't.
Really?
You'll-
can't?
No, we can. He's trying to troll.
Now you have to try stream, dude. Honestly.
Something someone says in chat won't get a stream taken down as long as nobody actually says it.
Honestly, North Star might have said it like 50 times in here.
If this was like 3 a.m., this stream wouldn't be here because I would have said a lot of racist things.
How do you?
'Cause that's
do
how I
you
roll.
have a job, dude?
I think
Yes.
I think I should just end the broadcast here and we should just stay in the studio and talk.
Yeah, let's
Pretty
do
much.
that. I think that work. I think
Okay,
that's
well,
Do that
thank you
so
all
we
for
don't
watching,
continue to
the
make
first
ourselves look
podcast
bad.
of the conservative perspective. Tune in next time to hear the second episode. And with that being said, thank you, God bless you, and God
and
bless
get
America.
Old Lodge State to 1 million subscribers by the end of the
True.
week.
Yes, let's do that. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Cheese.